Brian Westbrook back with us. B, how should Rodgers feel after no meaningful moves yesterday?
You know, Aaron Rodgers should feel the same way he's felt his entire career in Green Bay. The Packers, since, Aaron Rodgers was drafted, have never made any significant moves to help him on the trade deadline day. And Aaron Rodgers has to feel that if they're going to win or lose, it's going to be all upon his shoulders to do that. And the guys that he starts the season with, they're not going to add anyone. And so here's the other thing that I would be thinking if I'm Aaron Rodgers. I know they drafted Jordan Love this year. I know they drafted a running back. Maybe the Packers are looking towards the future and not willing to mortgage the future to try to help them win right now. Yeah. Matt LaFleur had a 4-year contract signed last year. Now he's saying, listen, Aaron, if you're going to win, you're going to win on your back, not because we're picking other people. We may need to use those draft picks in the future to try to help Jordan Love when he becomes a starting quarterback.
Wow. So,
look,
Brandon, here's my...
You got to be numb here.
Go ahead, Brandon.
You have to be numb here. That's what Aaron Rodgers is. You said it, B. You're numb. Look, you know what the Packers should have done? They should have went and got Morey. That's who they should have gone. They should have went to the NBA, got Morey because he's more aggressive. And the reason why you need a guy like that, I don't care if he doesn't understand football. He understands getting it done and putting good talent around great players. Aaron Rodgers is a once-in-a-lifetime type talent. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks our game has ever seen. You shouldn't have one Super Bowl. You should have 3 or 4 Super Bowls. So whenever you get an opportunity to add talent around this guy, you do it because it's extremely hard to make it to a Super Bowl, to win a Super Bowl. So I don't think the answer is a wide receiver, but they did nothing. You did nothing when this guy came into this year playing lights out. Why wouldn't you surround this guy with someone on the defensive side or anybody that just can help? I don't care if it's a punt returner. I don't care if it's a kicker. Somebody that can help this guy win another championship, Nick.
So, Nick, I got a question for you. First of all, Brandon, the team's pretty good. Like, they score a lot. They score over 30 points a game. It's not like they're like, Jack and Titanic needing to hang on to a door. Like, they're fine. They're on the boat. They're going pretty well. They're pretty good. So, Nick, the question I have for you is this. Do you think that everybody knew Will Fuller was being targeted by the Packers? Will Fuller tweeted out a little meme of like waiting for the Packers to come get him. Everybody knew it. Do you think that poisoned the well a little bit? Do you think that Aaron Rodgers kind of like hinting like, we kind of need Will Fuller, and everyone's like, well, Will Fuller. Do you think that screwed up the compensation and tilted the scales to the point where the Packers couldn't get it done?
No. I think the Packers aren't run very well. And I think we have increased evidence of this. Not only by the fact that they didn't get this trade done, but that this was the trade they're targeting. Why did the Packers lose last year? They couldn't stop the run. In their 4 losses last season, they allowed 176, 159, 112, and then 285. That's yards rushing. So what did they do this offseason? Nothing. They didn't address it at all in the draft. They're getting less out of their draft class, by the way, than any team in the NFL, except the Texans, who don't really have draft classes because they trade those picks away. So they didn't address it there. They didn't address it in free agency. This season, they've lost twice. Why did they lose? Well, they allowed 158 and 173 yards rushing, which means over the last 2 years, in their 6 losses, they are averaging allowing 175 yards on the ground. You know what the problem is. You're not addressing it. Well, there was no one to go get. Not true. A half dozen teams added front 7 defensive players at the deadline for minimal compensation. I think the Packers, Brian, want to have it both ways. They want to pseudo-contend while keeping their powder dry for the Jordan Love era, which they're so clearly excited for. It's why they drafted a running back they didn't need this year. It's why they drafted an H-back they didn't need this year. It's why they drafted him, Jordan Love being, and why they haven't traded away any picks. It would appear to me that we as a collective, Brian, are higher on the Packers than the people running the Packers are. And if I were Aaron Rodgers, that's what would frustrate me. Not that I didn't get Will Fuller, that my team didn't get better when the other contenders did.
You know, Nick, maybe that's the answer, but maybe the Packers and the organization are saying, we know what Aaron Rodgers is capable of. We know that he can just go on a hot streak and have a run of great play where he's just so much better than everyone else. Maybe Valdez-Scantling gets better, Allen Lazard gets healthy. Maybe those guys can have a bigger impact, and we'll just outscore teams. We can be the Kansas City Chiefs. What they have forgotten, and to your guys' point, is that the Kansas City's defense stepped up in the playoffs and stepped up, especially in the Super Bowl. That was the difference maker. And now they're talking about offense and forgetting about their defense, like you guys mentioned.
I don't know why we're surprised. This is exactly what Green Bay does year in and year out. Hang on one second, Brandon, because last season, remember, it was the Niners who proved to be Green Bay's kryptonite. Niners a non-factor now, all those injuries. But it's really the Seahawks and the Bucs that are the Packers' biggest roadblocks in the NFC. All right, Brandon, can the 5-2 Packers win the NFC with the current roster? They made no moves, so the guys they have now, can this team win the NFC?
100%. I mean, they were getting it done at the beginning of this year. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers as potentially an MVP. We're talking about how this team is playing lights out. They're probably playing better than anyone. And then we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. We had Seattle out there. Some teams playing some really good ball. So we talked about it yesterday, a little bit today. Do they need an addition or do they need an adjustment? To me, I think they need an adjustment because teams are starting to scheme and understand how to stop this guy, Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. So when I look at how they're set up, and you guys just brought it up, you got Aaron Rodgers who can put up 30 points a game. So what do you do on the defensive side? You go get defensive ends that can go get the quarterback because you're thinking that you're going to be playing with the lead almost 90% of your games. So that is an issue if the offense isn't putting up those 30 points. So they got to get back on track offensively the way that defense is structured, because a lot of times they think like that when you have a lights-out quarterback. You just say, now I got to surround him. It's almost like three-point shooters in basketball. Give me some defensive ends that can go get to that quarterback, and this will be a great, full, complete team.
So I think they can still win the NFC. I think there's no doubt about that. And I think in part that's because I don't want to argue about the Bucs right now. We can just disagree. I don't think there is a great team in the NFC. I think right now there are a bunch of very good teams with an obvious hole. So for Bucs, it's a lack of consistency, either week to week or within the same game. The Charger game, for example, they played an F- first half and an A triple plus second half. For the Seahawks, they have the best offense in the NFL and a bottom 5 defense. For the Packers, they can't stop the run. And we could keep going up and down the list, right? The Cardinals, all of a sudden, they're trending up. But you question their experience and their ability with Chandler Jones gone to get to the passer. I know Wild's big on the Cardinals. So Brian, pardon me. I do think they could potentially win the NFC. But I don't think this roster as presently constructed could beat the Chiefs or the Steelers. I don't think it's good enough to not only win 2 or 3 consecutive playoff games in their conference, but then go beat one of the 2 best teams in the league in the other conference.
You know what? I think you're right. It's going to be hard on them defensively, but this is what they can adjust to your point, Brandon, offensively. They can run the ball a little bit more. How do you protect your defense? You keep them off the field. Run the ball a little bit more, possess the ball more on the offensive side of the ball, and now that allows your defense to get more rest, to stay on the bench, and not allow the opposing offense to be committed as much to the run because they don't have as much time. That's what you have to do at this point, especially because you didn't go out there and get players at the trade deadline.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.